Okay, so you want to get really good at speaking English, like really confident, and you brought us this podcast script that's all about that. I'm excited to dive into this with our expert and see what gems we can pull out.
Yeah, you know what strikes me about this script is it goes right to the why behind the lack of confidence. Like most people just skip over that and go straight to tips and tricks, but this script seems to understand that you gotta tackle the root of the issue.
It's like you're prepping the ground before you plant a garden.
Exactly.
Just get the soil ready.
Yeah, makes sense to me. And it even dives into some of those specific fears, making mistakes, being judged, not practicing enough. Do you think that's a good move for someone maybe who's just starting out on their journey?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think acknowledging those fears right away can be really validating. It's like saying, hey, it's normal to feel this way, you know, and we're going to address it head on.
Yeah.
Plus, it kind of sets the stage for those mindset shifts that they weave throughout the script.
Those stood out to me too.
Like the one about seeing mistakes as learning opportunities, not failures.
Right.
But let's be honest, that's easier said than done.
For sure.
In the moment.
Yeah.
So do you think these shifts actually work?
Well, they're not like magic bullets or anything.
Right.
But they are crucial for building that foundation of self-belief. And that really ties into the script's emphasis on consistent practice.
Okay.
They even suggest speaking English every single day.
Wow.
Even if it's just to yourself.
Okay, but isn't talking to yourself a bit strange?
Yeah.
Like, how can that actually be helpful?
It doesn't have to be like a big dramatic monologue or anything. It's more about getting comfortable with the sounds of the language coming out of your own mouth.
Yeah.
So, it can be as simple as, narrating your day, describing what you see, or even, thinking through a problem out loud, but all in English.
Okay, so it's like low pressure way to get those mental reps in.
Exactly.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
The script also mentions recording yourself.
Yeah.
Which I bet some people might find a bit intimidating too.
Yeah, for sure. But recordings can give you this really valuable feedback on your, pronunciation.
Yeah.
You can identify areas to improve, and you can actually track your progress over time. And it also helps you just get used to the sound of your own voice in English, which is a big hurdle for a lot of people.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, the script talks about this shadowing technique.
Yes.
Which honestly sounds a bit mysterious to me.
So shadowing is basically mimicking a native speaker as closely as you can.
Okay.
Their pronunciation, their intonation, even their pauses. So, imagine their vocal shadow following their every sound. And it's really great for building fluency and getting a feel for that natural rhythm of the language.
So it's more than just repeating words. It's about capturing those little nuances that make someone sound natural.
Exactly.
What kind of materials would be good for shadowing?
I think things with really clear, high-quality audio are best. So TED Talks, podcasts, even audiobooks can work well.
Got it.
Choose something that you actually enjoy listening to, because you're going to be listening to it a lot.
Right.
The key is to really actively listen and try to replicate what you're hearing as accurately as possible.
I'm guessing it's best to start with maybe shorter segments and gradually work your way up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to break it down like sentence by sentence or even phrase by phrase.
Okay.
It's about quality over quantity.
Yeah.
The more you practice, the more those sounds will start to feel natural in your own speech. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So shadowing is all about mimicking,
Yeah.
capturing those nuances.
Exactly.
Okay, too.
It's kind of like you're absorbing the language, without even realizing it.
Yeah, and like through osmosis.
Exactly.
But let's shift gears a bit.
Sure.
The script also emphasizes, that social aspect of language learning, right?
Right. It talks about things like joining conversation groups or finding a language partner.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I imagine those scenarios could be super intimidating,
For sure.
especially for someone who's still building their confidence.
Yeah.
Any advice on how someone could make the most of those interactions without getting overwhelmed?
I think the first thing to remember is everyone's there for the same reason.
Yeah.
They're there to practice and improve.
Right.
And nobody expects you to be perfect.
Yeah.
So start with, small, manageable goals.
Right.
Like maybe just introduce yourself or ask a few simple questions.
So kind of like dip your toe in the social pool before jumping in the deep end.
Exactly.
Right.
And don't be afraid to be upfront about your language level.
Yeah.
You can just say something like, I'm still learning English, so please bear with me.
Okay, good tip.
Yeah.
Now, there's this idea of thinking in English
Right.
that the script touches on. which sounds almost impossible.
Yeah.
Like some Jedi mind trick, you know?
It's a process.
Yeah.
But it can be done.
So any practical advice on how to actually like achieve this?
Well, I would say start small.
Okay.
Instead of mentally translating everything, try describing your surroundings in English.
Okay.
You know, simple things like the coffee is hot.
Right.
The chair is comfortable.
Okay.
Things like that.
So it's about shifting that internal monologue like bit by bit.
Exactly.
What about for more complex thoughts like opinions and ideas?
You can try like narrating your thoughts as you go about your day.
Okay.
So for example, if you're coming, you know, you might think, okay, I'm chopping the vegetables now.
Right.
I think I'll add some garlic for extra flavor.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you're like your own English speaking commentator.
Exactly. And the more you do it, the less you'll rely on that translation process.
Right.
And the more natural it'll become to just think and speak in English.
Okay, now the script also tackles this elephant in the room.
Uh-huh.
The fear of actually speaking with native speakers.
Yeah.
Any advice for navigating those interactions?
Well, I think it's important to remember that most native speakers are actually happy to help and they appreciate the effort that you're making. So don't be afraid to ask for clarification.
Yeah.
You know, a simple, could you repeat that please? Or could you speak a bit slower? Can go a long way.
Right. Okay. What about those times when you just freeze up?
Yeah.
You know, your mind goes blank and you can't remember the simplest word.
Yeah. It happens
there.
in those situations. Don't be afraid to use gestures.
Right.
Or even like draw a picture.
Okay.
The key is to just keep the communication flowing.
Right.
And remember, even native speakers have those tip of the tongue moments sometimes.
That's reassuring.
Yeah.
It seems like this script really emphasizes, you know, the importance of just putting yourself out there,
Absolutely.
even if it's a little bit uncomfortable.
It's like anything else. The more you do it, the more comfortable you'll become.
Yeah.
And that's really where those mindset shifts that we talked about earlier come into play.
Mm.
You know, embracing those imperfect moments as part of the process.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Speaking of practice,
Yeah.
the script ends with a bit of a challenge for our listener, right?
Yes. It encourages them to commit to speaking English for at least 5 minutes every day.
5 minutes.
At least.
Okay, that seems manageable,
Yeah.
even for someone with a busy schedule. But wouldn't it be easy to just let that slide?
It can be, but consistency is key.
Yeah.
You know, think of it like any other habit
Right.
that you want to build.
Okay.
You know, set aside a specific time each day, even if it's just during your commute or while you're making dinner. You know, even talk to your pet. Sing along to English songs.
Right.
Even writing in a journal, it all counts.
It all counts.
The point is to make it a part of your daily routine, something you look forward to rather than dread.
Yeah, I like that.
And you know, even those small, consistent efforts, they really add up over time.
This whole deep dive has been really eye-opening.
What good?
The script not only gives these practical tips,
Right.
but it also addresses that mental game,
Yeah,
which is so crucial for building confidence, wouldn't you say?
absolutely. I think it's about, you know, shifting your focus from perfection to progress. And from, you know, fearing mistakes to actually embracing them as learning opportunities.
Yeah, it's almost like you're reframing your entire relationship with the language.
Totally.
Like seeing it as this journey of exploration
Yeah.
rather than a test that you need to pass.
Yeah. I love that. And that actually brings us to my final thought for you today.
Okay.
Remember, language is about connection. It's about sharing ideas, expressing yourself, and building relationships.
Yeah, it's about opening up this whole world of possibilities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as you continue on this path of building confidence in your English speaking,
Okay.
focus on the joy of communication.
Okay.
Let go of that pressure to be perfect
Right.
and embrace the journey. The confidence will follow.
I love that. That's a great place to end.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us in this deep dive.
My pleasure.
Until next time.